Hello.
Hi. So
I can
welcome
hear
to the
you,
show.
yeah.
Oh, good, perfect. Okay, so before we get started, let's
Sorry.
go ahead and do some introductions. So, Joey, as you are our special guest today, let's go ahead and do you first. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel. Oop, uh,
I'm in the UK. I'm an indie author. I have almost finished, and I write young adult across a variety of genres, from crime mystery to dystopian to paranormal to urban fantasy. I haven't really settled on which one I want to do. I just go where the ideas take me.
It's a good way to be, I think.
a woman
Absolutely.
of many talents, and you have a new book coming out on November 14th. Invisible. That is a dystopian YA, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Oop, sorry, guys, technical difficulties today. Okay. I mean, just jump in anytime, Joey, if you can hear us. You've frozen, so I'm not sure if you're going to be out or in or not. Oh, hold on, I saw the cat move.
It's a very good.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do maybe Joey hop off and come
Can you
back in
repeat
and
that?
see
I
if we
just lost sound for a second.
yeah. Why don't you hop off and hop back on and see if you can get a better connection? You're all blurry and we completely lost you for a minute there. So let's go ahead and go around the circle. Maybe Joey hops off and comes back in. And Michelle, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
Hello, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write young adult and middle grade novels,
Yep,
and
okay.
my channel is writing workshops, traditional publishing chat, and writing blogs.
Thank you so much for being here today, Robert. So glad to see you today. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
My channel is The Story Detective, where I take what I've learned from being a graphic artist at Marvel Comics and my experience with writing and put all that under a Sherlockian microscope, break down the craft, and give it to the viewer in hopes of making your craft journey easier.
Excellent. Very, very nice. I'm so excited that Joey's here today. Hopefully, it will work out from a tech standpoint. But I want to get started. Oh, I didn't introduce myself. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Daly. This is my channel. Well, it's actually all of our channels because now StreamYard has this thing where we can be everywhere. We're like, I was going to say something very dystopian. We're like Big Brother.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I am super, super happy as always to be here. Oh, Joey's back with us. Hello, Joey.
Hey.
Yay! Okay, fantastic. So,
Hello.
yeah, so tell us. Hello, we're very glad to have you back. So we are going to go ahead and do a 5 minute warm up. We're just going to get rolling right away today with this, and then we'll get into a little more chit chat as we go along. All right, everybody. So it would be super helpful if I had, let's see, there we go. If I'd pop this up ahead of time. All right, we are going to do our first 5 minute warm up sprint. So, this is a great time to get your document open, get your drink, get your vitamins that you forgot to take this morning. And let's go ahead and get rolling with this in 3, 2, 1. All right, we are back. Dun, dun, dun. Now I've got the I have a banner up and I have no idea where it went. Ooh. Oh, StreamYard, you're so much fun. Okay, so how did everybody do on that last one? On that on our little warm up sprint? Did you guys get all ready to write today?
Yes, I wrote the first line. So
Yay! Yay! All right, that is absolutely fantastic. All right, here we go. So let's say hi to our friends in the chat today. Lainey Davis is here. Hello, Lainey. We are super super happy to see you today. Devin is here. Hello, Devin. RC is here. I got so excited to see RC. I lost my microphone. RC is here to see us. We are super glad to have you here today. Catherine's here. Hello, Catherine. Very glad you're here this morning. Apollo's towel. I see a kitty cat. Joey's got 4 cats, which is so awesome. And Robert, you have 1 or 2?
Well, I had to.
You had 1. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Lisa has just ruined the stream. I apologize. I'm so sorry, Robert. I'm like, Katrina's here. Super glad to see you today. Lysandra's here. Hello. Very nice. Yes, we've got a dog and we've got multiple dogs, right? Rosa's here. Odin's here. They like to write. There we go. Hi, Rosa. Joey Paul is on the show with us today. Abby's here. Hello. Kicking bad vibes to the curb. Not today, Satan. Not today. Yes. Yes. Bailey May is here. Hello, Bailey. We are super glad that you are here today. Oh my gosh, we have such a great crowd. I can't say this name. Maciel, tell us, let us know in the chat how to pronounce your name phonetically so that I do not screw it up for the entirety of the stream. But we are very, very glad to see you. If we can't make that happen, I'm just going to call you MVC. It's like MVP, except better. All right. Swinton's here. Hello, Swinton. Super glad to see you. More to Gigi. Very nice to see you today. We are super glad you're here. Mary Putnam is back from her whirlwind trip around the universe. She had a really big vacation, which I'm dying to hear all about. So cool. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm excited because we have Joey on the show today. She's got a new book coming out called Invisible, which is coming out on November 14th. Joey, tell us a little bit about the book. I feel like we've got a bad delay here. Yeah. This might not be the good thing this morning. All right. Well, we'll just keep going and that'll work out great. Maciel. Love that. That's a really pretty name. Beautiful. Abby says, welcome to the Animal Lovers stream. Sorry to hear about the kitty. I remember him from your videos. Good kitty.
It's been a rough year for kitties. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mary is also back from Vegas, where I got to meet some amazing nonfiction authors. You should see my book haul. Very nice. Very nice. What was just in Vegas? Was it 20 books? No, that's not yet. That happens in November. So I'm kind of curious what you guys were doing. Very nice. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start with our first sprint. I am in the mood to write today. And then we'll come back and do a little chit chat. We've got some questions to answer. If you have a question that you want us to answer, be sure to drop it into the chat. Oh, she says it was a work thing. They met Daniel Pink. I love him. He's a really smart, interesting guy. All right, let's do it. All right, here we go.
Scooch. I've lost it completely. Okay.
All right. So I've got 3 seconds up on the clock, and we are going to get rolling in 3, 2, 1. Oh, well, I lost my voice there. All right. Oh, it looks like we do not have a.
Oh no. Wow. The gremlins are really out for us today, aren't they?
They are. Well, Joey disconnected her video in hopes that the audio will work better.
Oh, okay. All right.
When Lisa comes back.
There she is.
Okay. So Joey.
Play today.
Yeah. Joey has disconnected her video in hopes the audio will work better.
Oh, perfect.
So we talked about, discussing books.
Yeah.
Her book, a brief introduction, and if her tech permits, she will jump in and take over when she can.
All right, fantastic. So, so tell us a little bit about Invisible.
Well, Invisible is an interesting story. It seems like it could take place, 5 minutes into our reality, but it's obviously a dystopian fantasy. It follows the adventures of two characters, Aya and oh God, why can't I think of it? Jonah. Aya is disabled from birth. Jonah is not. But in this reality, the world is separated into segments. And suddenly these bombs are dropped while the kids are in school, and there's a cloud that seems to be hurting or, killing some people. The ones who survive turn out to have disabilities. Aya and
Cool.
Aya and Jonah are in two different segments, and it's only because Jonah has connections with his father that he tries to reach out to one of the connections and meets Zaya, who's like a relative of that connection, and they start communicating on what's happening in their separate segments, and it's not good. It looks very intentional, and very authoritarian as it goes on.
It's a great setup. Joey, this is your is this your 21st novel?
Wow.
It's amazing. It's completely
amazing. The audio is still not going on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and this is just not working. So let's go ahead and
I've written more than that, but these are the ones I published.
Got it. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and say hi to some of the folks who have dropped in, and then we are going to check out some questions. Aphrodite says she loves the title. Vixen's here. Hello. We are super glad to see you here. All right. Poor Odin, out like a light in the back. He's been staying up late proofreading. Yes, he has. Or throwing lit doggy parties in your absence. Yes, that's him. Totally. He's just passed out cold. He met a new dog friend yesterday in the neighborhood. I think he's just wiped out from all the excitement. Aphrodite's here. Hello. All right. Fantastic. Victoria's here. Hello, Victoria. All right. Apollo's Tal, have a message from Joey. She's having connection issues. She's going to try reconnecting during the sprint. Thank you so much for passing that along. We sure appreciate it. So let me get. I don't know if you ever did this. My computer now does this thing where it will suddenly zoom in for no actual reason, and I'm. Then you're stuck with this little teeny piece of the puzzle. Yeah. So just a little, somebody's chin or something. And I'm like, ah. All right. So let's see. This is a really good question. And I don't know that we answered it last time. So I wanted to answer it this time. Is it ever okay to submit to more than one literary agent at a time? Yeah, totally. There are some agents that will put on their submission guidelines no simultaneous submissions, but these days that is more and more rare. I think if there's somebody that you really, agent that you really, really want, and they say only, single submissions, no simultaneous submissions, and you were like, okay, I really want this agent, this is the person, then maybe I would do it, but only for like a short period of time, like a month or 2 months at the outset or at the most, because otherwise if you had to go through one agent at a time, even a month
Oh
at
my
a time,
gosh, it
it'd be
would
17
probably.
years before you reached everybody on your list. So
I have to say, I side eye that request of because it's like you better be fast. I mean, you better be getting back to these people in less than a week if you're asking that. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know that's. But I don't know who asked this question. But I would also say, just for clarification, in case they mean more than one literary agent at an agency, that tends
Mhm.
to be
Yeah.
frowned upon. Although I know that at my agency, they're fine with you querying more than one agent as long as you tell them both in the query. I'm also querying your
Your partner or whatever, right?
Most of the time, no, because most agents, if they really like the book, but it's not for them personally, but they know another agent at the agency who would be interested, they'll pass it over themselves.
Right.
Just
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it really isn't necessary. A lot of times they'll do that. If you are, I think the only time I would submit to two agents at the same time is just if you love both of them, their lists so much, and you just can't pick one over the other. I
Yeah.
would probably do it then.
Yep.
But yeah, but with a little smoothing out in the email of like,
Right.
how do you say that? Like, right? Because no agent wants to think that they're not your first choice. I mean,
Right.
no human wants to think that.
And make sure you customize each one. Don't like CC a
Yeah.
bunch of agents and be like,
No.
"Dear agent, here is
Right.
no."
No, I think one of the most important things if you are going to be submitting to a literary agent is to look at their submission guidelines on their website. They always have them on there. Make sure you follow those. There's nothing that ticks them off. Like they want them a certain way for a reason. Respect that. And that you don't, and you definitely want to personalize the email. And the thing is, that's easy to do. Obviously, you want to make sure you use their name. Hi, so and so. But you also want to, maybe personalize it a little bit related to their list. So you say, I'm submitting to you. I really admire the work that you did on, so and so's book, or, I feel like my work falls between this and this, and that let them know that you're not just hitting like agent spam sending out to a million people, that there's some reason why you chose to submit to them. But simultaneous submissions are fine.
Yeah, and to add to that, unless things have changed greatly recently, it's multiple query letters, okay, but if somebody asks you to read it, it's one person reading it at a time.
Yeah.
It's multiple reads that will piss people off.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. This question came in and I thought it was super interesting. How much does indie publishing a book cost?
That is
so $0 to $1 million.
Yeah, seriously though. Such a range.
It's a huge range depending on how much you spend on a cover, or if you design it yourself, whether or not you barter editing or pay for an editor, the cost of the editor, how many pages you have in that book, because editing a 100,000 word manuscript costs a lot more, generally speaking, than a 40,000 word manuscript. Yeah, I mean, there are whether or not you're paying for developmental editing in addition to line editing, or just one big pass at the end. So there are a million, whether or not you have someone else format the book in EPUB, all this. So I think Readsy estimates that it costs, anywhere from like $2,500 to $4,000 to publish a book on average. But we all know people who are doing everything themselves and putting that sucker up there for, for nothing. So other than the cost of your time, energy, tears, love, and maybe stock photo imagery. So so for the most part, I mean, you can do it on a shoestring. You absolutely can. And as you get further along or value certain things like editing, which is always good, I think that's the first dollar I would spend would be on editing. Yeah. So that's
Not
it.
counting the editing process. Most people that I've talked to said that it ran them around $1,500 for the cover artist and all the publishing stuff. If you're going to add editing to that, then you're going to add probably, it depends, several thousand more.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there are I mean, there are lots of costs to go, and I feel bad because like that's a good question, and also there's no good answer. So so there's that. This one I thought was really interesting. And it's sort of I kind of clumped together two different questions that we got a couple of weeks apart, but they were very similar. So I submitted my self-help book to more than 100 agents with no request for partials or full manuscripts. Where should I find new agents to pitch? Because they'd already looked at like, sort of the regular places. So my thought is, I feel like Michelle's about to make the same comment I'm about to make.
Probably.
My thought is, if you pitch to 100 agents with no request for partials and no request for manuscripts, it is not that you need more agents. It's that you need to look at your book proposal, which you definitely need to have if you're writing a nonfiction book, and your your pitch, because clearly it's not landing. So book proposal and your pitch, and in particular your pitch, because we don't even know if you're sending your book proposal in your pitch or if it's just your pitch, but that would be I think that's where you need to work.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like you're getting data back that's saying this is not landing, and so you need to figure out the way to make it land. So
Right.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and do another sprint. I am super excited to get some writing done today. I don't think we talked about what everybody's working on today. We should do that before we jump into our next sprint. So, Joey, as you are our special guest today, what are you working on today? Oop.
Still have a delay, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, Michelle, why don't you answer the question, and then if Joey pops in, then we'll just.
Oh, mine's quick. I'm ghostwriting. It's a rom-com, Lisa.
Yay! I love rom-coms.
Yeah.
Robert, what are you working on today?
I'm working on my horror short today.
Ooh.
Figured I would take a break and just have some fun.
Nice. Very nice. I'm actually working on nonfiction today. So I know. So I'm excited about that. I'm like at the spot where I'm getting some momentum on this project. So I'm super excited about it. All right. And last chance with Joey. What are you working on today? If you can hear us, or I know you can hear us if we can hear you. Okay, maybe tell us in the chat. All right, here we go. We are going to put 20 minutes up on the timer, and let's sprint. 3, 2, 1. All right. Very nice. Let me just stop this little thing. How did everybody do on the sprint? And tell us what you guys are working on today. I actually think I just did that. We just did that sprint and we did not. I didn't even put like the banner up. So Mary says pets rule. My old dog Gabby, who thinks she's a cat, is largely responsible for why I got to meet Daniel Pink and bounce book ideas off him and get a promise for a blurb. What? That is
pretty cool.
awesome.
Good
That
job, pet Gabby.
very nice. Very nice. More to Gigi. Whoop, whoop. I love that name. How can I add more conflict to my story? That is such a great question. I think I'm going to start with Robert this time.
Well,
Can I
there's
answer the question?
conflict in everything. And it starts with what's inside of yourself. And that's always in opposition to what's outside of yourself. That's how you build conflict on every level, because what we think and what we do is often different. And what other people want is certainly different. And when you start putting those things in opposition, it can grow organically if you understand your characters and what they want and get those wants in conflict.
Yeah, I think that's such a good answer because a lot of times we focus on either the external conflict or the internal conflict, but not as, sometimes we sort of miss the, what you get out of the sort of multiplier factor of
Mhm.
really thinking about all of the different conflicts that we can bring into that. Michelle, what are your thoughts on how to add more conflict to a story?
Really, if you feel like you don't have enough conflict, I think you need to look at your characters. I mean, I'm basically going to say what Robert said. It's just about them. I have a client who really likes to make all of her characters get along. And I'm constantly pushing her to be like, well, they can like it doesn't it's not that you want them all to like hate each other. It's even better, I think, if they do like each other, but they have some
Disagreements,
like
Thanksgiving.
I have a client who's writing something where she has the main character has a college roommate she's never met before, and they immediately get along like gangbusters. And I'm like, man, I was best friends with my college roommate, but we argued about all kinds of stuff. We were both messy, but we didn't like the way each other's messes existed. We had a war with the dorm room where we had like a Jack and Jill bathroom. We had a toilet paper war. Like they would never replace the toilet paper, and it was just this like.
So you like have your secret stash that you would take in with you.
That's exactly it. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, stupid stuff like that, but that is conflict. Like you have to,
and that's just human, right? That's just human. We are always like, you know what? The bane of my existence is backwards parkers. I hate it. I hate it. You want to put conflict in me? Backwards park. And that's the thing, is like you can create it from anywhere. Obviously it works best when it's really pushing the story forward and pushing the character to grow in ways that they definitely do not want to. But
key.
Yeah,
the novel is about growth, and we never really like change when a big life-changing problem hits us. But when we are trying to grow and make those changes for ourselves, whether we desire it or whether life just interferes, those around us, because they love us and because they get along with us, the more they care about us, the more they want to interfere, because they all have their opinions on what you should do.
Right.
And it may sound very logical, but it's for them. It's not for your character.
Look at Taylor Swift. All her gazillion fans all have, not all, but mostly have very strong opinions about who she's dating and whether or not they're treating her the way that she should be treated, and a million other things like that. Right? And they will argue amongst themselves. She's just existing, living her life, and yet there's all of this conflict and gossip and excitement and all this stuff around her. So it can really come from anywhere. That was just a random Taylor Swift class. I had like an idea, and I feel like I lost the tail end of it, but that's okay. We're just going to move on. Joey, do you have a comment about this? If we can,
I got some messages from her. I do have kind of an idea of why she wrote the story and how the conflict began. So I guess it fits. There's a lot of people out there that say when the world starts coming to some kind of a dramatic apocalyptic scenario, that the disabled will go first because they're helpless. And being a disabled person, she knows that the disabled are constantly having to adapt because the world isn't designed for them. And the average person that's stuck in life within the box and the confines, they are not so very adaptable. And when that change hits, it's going to be more of a shock for them.
Mm-hmm.
So in her story, when people start becoming disabled and having to adjust to all that, it's about adaptability and showing the fact that people, what happens when you have to adapt under those conditions.
Yeah, I think that's great. All right, good question from Shelley. I know this is asked a lot. Just wondering, in today's publishing world, how are you guys feeling about trad publishing versus indie? I have
Michelle.
thoughts. What did you say, Robert? Traditional?
Michelle just had a newsletter on this.
Yeah. How about you, Michelle?
Well, I always the caveat that I haven't done indie, so I don't know, and I feel weird when I'm asked to make this comparison because I have a ton of experience on this one side and absolutely zero on the other side. I will say this: I get a lot of, and I want to hear from you guys. At least I know you because you do both. So,
Mhm.
but I get a lot of comments every time I make a video criticizing traditional publishing or that just talks about like the ways it's getting more difficult now.
Yeah.
I get multiple comments that are like, "This is why I'm going indie. This is why I'm self-publishing," and do it. I mean, like everybody has their choice to make. There's no right or wrong path, but like I'm it seems to me self-publishing is also getting harder. Amazon is constantly doing things that are making it more and more difficult.
Mhm.
Like we had that, what was it? Not long ago, sometime earlier this year on this live stream, you guys were telling me about an audiobook thing that Amazon was doing, like some rule they changed. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was like it
Putting
kind of
commercials in audiobooks.
Right.
like taking so much power away from
Yeah.
from
Well, that's
authors.
going to happen. I think that'll happen with traditional publisher with
Oh, I'm
traditional.
sure it will. That's what I mean. Like, it's not just because one is getting more challenging doesn't mean the other one is the answer. I guess
Right.
that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some. I mean, I think there's. This is Shelley. We could talk about this all day. There is some. There's truth in what both of you are saying. So I started out traditionally published, and now I have done my new series indie published. And the reason for that, and I worked in traditional publishing. I was director of PR for many years for a trad publisher. And I have friends, I have lots of author friends who are traditionally published. I have lots of author clients who are traditionally published. And I also have lots of author friends who are indie published. One of the things that I have done as a book coach is coach a number of fiction authors to help them write nonfiction books. And my 6 and 7 figure clients are almost exclusively independently published. And and what I will say is that it's harder to get like publicity right now for not indie or traditional publishing, like either one specifically. It's for everybody. There are fewer sort of outlets that they're more splintered. It's harder to sell. You have so much less control with traditional publishing. Now, one thing is theoretically you'll be in every Barnes and Noble or whatever, but something that's happened with a number of my trad published friends is that their distributors they're just not getting into the big bookstores. And for a long time, that was like a main reason for why you would want to be traditionally published, is that you'd want to, have access to all the Barnes and Nobles and all the indies in the world. And on one hand, indies have made some progress. It's still harder for them to get carried in like a Barnes and Noble, even though some do. But it's still harder for them to get carried. But it's also getting harder for trad published authors sometimes to be in bookstores.
Mhm.
And they have a lot less control over pricing and marketing decisions and a lot of things like that. I think if you're a person who wants someone else to take care of, like you don't want to run a business, you don't want to take care of the editing, and you don't want to worry. I mean, you're still going to have to market, whether you're indie published or traditionally published.
Yeah.
That's still on you, or you will sell one book and that's it.
Mhm.
But if you want to make a living, I know more authors making a living from just their books who are indie published than traditionally published.
Mm.
I hope that helps. If you have any follow-ups or we missed anything, let us drop it in and we'll come back to it.
I think the business side of it is important because I talk to a lot of people who have indie published, and the ones who are making any sort of living out of it have some sense of business.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. You absolutely have to. Otherwise, it's just a really expensive hobby.
Even if their writing is middle of the road and just getting by, their sense of business carries through a lot of that. So
Yeah.
it's important.
There are plenty of hacks making good money on Amazon. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay. Avi has a great question, hot take question. What is your opinion on author tubers who publish one book then immediately charge for writing courses?
Mm.
I would say there are many writing courses available from authors who have published multiple books and have had some success over time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thoughts, Michelle?
I think a whole lot of it depends on what the course is promising
Mm-hmm.
to you. Like what it specifically is it because someone who's written one book has some wisdom to offer. The thing is, a lot of people who have written one book are offering that wisdom for free. So what makes this one worth charging for? I don't know, but this is a capitalist society, so they're allowed to do it.
Sure.
I would just say, as a consumer, just think about what you want out of a course and what you can find for free on the internet, which is everything. And my thing with writing courses is I feel like if you're not at least given the opportunity to get some one-on-one interaction or feedback with the instructor, then you can probably find the information they're offering for free. And that's not like a diss on the information. It's just that so many people put free, helpful writing advice out there.
Yeah, I have two thoughts on that. One is basically that, yes, writing a book is, I think, the second best way to gain some kind of credibility. But what have they done prior to writing that book? I see a lot of people selling services that have zero experience in anything. And if you read their book, it shows, but you have to understand, I guess, the experience or the quality of the writing to understand that. And some people don't. And another thing I see in the writing groups is people are asking the most basic of questions. The internet is there and people just aren't using it. It's incredible to me.
Well, to be fair, some people like to pay for courses because they don't want to go out and find the information. They want it all in one place, and it's worth $200 or $39 or whatever the course is going.
They're paying for time.
Yeah.
Because and that's value. I mean, I
absolutely. And the other thing is, I certainly have taken classes. I have taken lots of classes from authors, and many of them have been great, and some of them have been sort of so-so. I was trying to think of an instance in which I would take a course from someone, Lainey, who had done one book. And I think I know who I would take a course from. And was it Anna Huang? Anna Huang, came out of the gate swinging, and she contacted it was some 1,000 TikTokers about her book, and that thing went into the stratosphere. It was amazing. And I would take a class from her on what she did on TikTok. So so if you had a lot of success in a particular area and you want to offer a class on it, like getting, TikTokers to review your book or something like that, then sure. But for a writing course, if you've written one book, especially if you've, if you've written one book, then maybe it's the greatest book ever and you should be doing a writing course. But in general, I'd say there are probably some courses from more experienced authors that might be better.
I want to add one other thing to that, because I don't want to sound too judgmental. And I made a video about this, but I don't always fault the author tubers or writers who do this, because it's so easy to fall down the online course guru rabbit hole, where there's so many people out there who are trying to convince you that you can make millions and millions of dollars a year. Yeah. Creating an online course one time that you just put out there. And it's so tempting. And I almost fell for it myself. And so when you look at it as like, okay, well, it's almost impossible to build a career just writing books. Maybe this could supplement my income. I understand why people go down that road. So
Sure.
I have some sympathy there. I
Yeah.
don't think they're all like out to scam all of us. You know?
No, I don't think so. And I think a lot of times when people have when they're doing a course, they feel like they genuinely have information to give, and they might. Sometimes, the right course for the right person could be awesome. I just think like the question was about publishing one book and then charging for a writing course. To me, that feels maybe a little bit premature, but again, it depends on the writer. If this person won like, book of the year and right, then I go, oh, okay, I might take yeah.
Right.
I think it depends on the person, but generally I believe I feel the same way Avi feels about it. So let's talk about what everybody's also working on. We'll look at some other questions. Lainey's working on book 1 in Next Gen series I'm writing as a palate cleanser. Love that. More to Gigi. I'm also ghostwriting steamy contemporary romance. Joey is working on getting a few bits and pieces done for pre-release, mostly posts and the like. So for you guys, Invisible is going to be out on November 14th. So you've got a month to get all your goodies ready for your launch. Swinton going over edits for copy editor to the second book in my PI murder mystery series. Love that. Lissandra's here. Draft 2 of a holiday novella. That's awesome. Every year I'm like, I just need to write a Christmas novella, and I never do. I need next year, hopefully. Daisy's here. Hello, Daisy. We are super glad to see you. Caro. Hello, Caro. Back to work. Love you. Okay, I forgot to say I'm working on following up some job opportunities, not writing, but still as a former editor, I just want to say you're all doing amazing, sweeties. Aw, you too.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Hello, Heather. Hello, Gail.
Ooh.
Oh, there's a Japanese. Oh, this is really good. This is about what we were talking about previously in the last break. Gosh, I'm really behind on comments. Sorry, guys. There's a Japanese story style called Kisho Tenketsu.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
I have heard it exists. I could not pronounce it, and I would not have been able to call it up. A plot structure without conflict. Would Western publishing simply reject such a concept? We're so plot driven in the US for sure. But there are books that are foreign translations often that do really well here. And I think maybe they have more acceptance because they're foreign translations. But I don't know, like commercially speaking, probably not as much. I don't know, maybe. Maybe the whole world is just like seeking some sort of escape, a conflict-free escape. That sounds nice, actually. Can I
I'd like
do
to
that?
read a story that follows that. I'm curious
Yeah.
what makes it exciting and interesting, if not conflict.
Yeah.
It was a model for Chinese poetry originally.
Oh, interesting.
It's still like 4-act structure. It consists of an introduction, a development, a twist, and a reconciliation. So it may not seem like there's the kind of dramatic conflict that we're used to, but there's some kind of a lesson involved in there.
Uh-huh.
Or, something.
So it's more of sort of a parable. I like that. All right. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Emma. Sisters, authors, friends in Canada, I recently decided to rewrite my project, not only to be first person and multi-POV, mostly because it's YA. Can I just say right now, I'm very sorry for your I'm very sorry for your loss of pronouns. It's so hard to switch tense because like 7 years later you will be you've gone through it 8 million times and you'll still find an extra like wrong tense. Yeah. I feel you. I've done that. Also multi-timeline. I've heard the advice to write both timelines separately. Agree. Thoughts on this, Michelle? Throwing this one to you.
I don't think there's a right or wrong there. I think it's what works for you. I have a friend she's doing like a sort of a split contemporary historical POV. And I think she's going to write the historical all in one go and then write the present day because she'll have to
reference.
But other people might want to go back and forth and like let one inform the other and shape it. Either way could work, I think.
Yeah, I can see both. I think if I were doing it, and I'm not, and I've never done this, so this advice is completely out of left field. I would think that I would write them separately. I'd
Mhm.
write the first one, and then I would write the second one to work with the first one, and then I would go back to the first one and tweak it to work better with the second one.
Yeah. I think you would definitely have to plan out both and understand them if you don't write them separately, because you're going to hit some jarring moments if you don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, oh, and Lainey says 1,000. Yes. My guess is that this is over Anna Huang's TikTok, imaginary TikTok course that we have. Oh, but her background is in marketing. That's right. I totally forgot about that. Yes. I
Nice.
totally forgot about that. Right. So she would be a good person. I would totally buy a marketing course from her.
Mm.
Also, we met her, Lainey and I met her at Novelist Inc., and she was just delightful. And it was really fun. Let me just say what a funny and cool person she was. So we're sitting in this group on the first night in the lobby of the hotel, and we had just sort of wandered in there, and it was all romance authors, but most of us didn't really know each other. And Anna had come over with us. We had some other people like in our little rom-com group, but then we had some other folks that didn't know us. And one of the authors, I think she wrote historical romance. So she was a little bit of an older lady. She was nice, really nice. And so she's so cute. We're talking about different promotional methods, and she asked Anna Huang, like, has TikTok, like, have you had any luck with that? And she was so sweet. Like, this woman sold like a bazillion books on TikTok. And she was like, yes, it's been good. Like, she's so like just chill about the whole thing. It was sort of hilarious. I was a little Lady too. We were both fangirling a little bit because it was just so funny. Vixen says sometimes the free advice or info on process is contradicting or confusing for newbies. That is absolutely true. That's another good reason to take a course. But then the paid course, you don't know if you're going to be getting what you need. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Hello. We're so glad that you visited us on lunch. Yes. Yeah. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do, it's already 12:30, 12:30 Eastern time. Let's go ahead and do another sprint. I'm feeling good about today.
Yes.
All right, everybody. I think this is going to be our last one. 20 minutes on the clock. We've got this. We're going to make this one count. Here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's cha-cha. I'm talking. I was on mute. Same as always. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. So how did you guys do in that last sprint? Michelle, how'd you do?
Good, very good. Almost, I'm like halfway done with this chapter. So
Good. Good for you. How about you, Robert? How'd you do?
I did pretty well. I'm finding some stuff to dig out of the previous draft when I was tinkering with this thing that's useful and adding some new stuff.
Sounds good. How about you, Joey?
she said she got 3 posts done in the chat.
Yay. Awesome. Fantastic. Fantastic. Sister said cool advice. Thanks from before. Paget says, yeah, it's tough to know what to trust until you've heard a bunch of it, tried some of it. By the time you know something is valid, like you already know through experience. True. I mean, I guess I would just look at like the source. If you trust the person, then that's maybe a good person to take a class from. And if you're not sure, then maybe look around. So I keep trying to see whatever I see that doesn't seem absurd, the occasional thing that does. I don't know what that. Lysandra got 4 out of 7 pages done today. Yay! Thank you so much for being here. We are super excited that you made it today. Spence arrived and fed babies during the lunch during the final sprint. Got it. Joey's got 3 posts done. That's awesome. Chicken legs, delicious. Tamara, hi. We're super glad to see you today. Very, very nice. Very happy to see you all. So, how did you guys all do? Anybody who has not let us know in the chat, definitely drop a little note in there and let us know how you did on that last sprint. I'm feeling good. I had a good start this morning.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. That was good.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fantastic. So we are going to be here at our regular time next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Before we go, let's go ahead and do some quick little outros. I'm just going to say for Joey, Joey is a multi-award winning YA author and YouTuber who writes crime, paranormal, and dystopian YA. And her brand new book, Invisible, is going to be out on November 14th. And I dropped a link to to her hype page in the chat, which is sort of like a link tree, but cooler. All right. And so I just dropped that in the chat again. Robert, before we go, why don't you tell us a little about you and your awesome channel before we say goodbye?
My awesome channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling and put it under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the details of craft and give it to the viewer in hopes of making their craft journey easier without all the confusion.
Excellent. Love that. Michelle, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
All right. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade and young adult novels. My channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs.
Thank you very much for being here. I am Lisa Daly, and I write contemporary romance, specifically rom-coms, and very specifically hockey rom-coms, as well as nonfiction dating and writing advice. Dating's my old stuff. Writing is more of my new stuff. So you guys are so awesome. We are so happy we're able to have Joey here today. Abby says, TV rec for Michelle, Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, it's on my radar.
Oh, I keep hearing really good things about this. She says it's on Netflix. Get them words. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Swift. Thank you very much for that. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for being here and for your great questions. And we will be back next week with more. Yay. This is gonna be like our last. Next week is our last Preptober or live stream, isn't it?
Oh, wow, it is.
I think it is. Is that right?
Is it?
I think so. Let me look at my trusty
Yeah, because the
calendar.
Wednesday after that is the 1st. So we'll get
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is exciting, though. We could kick off NaNoWriMo right here on the stream. Awesome. All right, everybody. You guys have a great week, and we will see you next time.
Take care, everybody, and check out Invisible. It's a great book.